Hello, and welcome to Rethink Games with Scott Novus. I'm your host, Scott Novus, and I'm here to be your guide about all things video games. And in this, my first episode of my first season, I want to share what I think is one of the most valuable things that I can give you, and that is how to manage the end of game time with your kids. I hear from so many parents, they struggle with this. In fact, I was just sitting at an amazing seminar, and a super smart, competent, brilliant speaker next to me said, every time I try to stop my kids playing their games, it's a huge fight. It's addiction. I'm like, it's not addiction. I know it feels like it, and it's frustrating, but I can help. Just telling you it's not isn't all that useful. So let me give you the tools that you're going to need, and that's my goal for this little 10-minute episode. So here's the thing. To understand what's happening, you want to put yourself in this frame of mind. Imagine, what are you into? Are you into sports? Are you into music? Maybe you like books, or you're watching a movie. But let's say it's a concert, and it's your favorite band, and they're just killing it, and they're about to play the encore, your favorite song. Just thinking about it gives you goosebumps. And just as they hit the first few chords, your parent comes in, grabs you by the wrist, and screams at you, "Shut it down now!" And you're like, what did I do? You didn't even buy the tickets. They were a gift. Here's the irony. As parents, we bought the games for the kids. They didn't buy them. They don't have credit cards. So we gave them this thing, and then we yell at them because we don't like how this is turning out. So you could begin to see where this would be a little frustrating, overwhelming, conflicting messages, and why it gets so emotional for people. So here's the trick, here's the takeaway, here's the key. To effectively end game time, you have to negotiate the end before it begins. Okay? There's 3 ways that games end. There's 3 things you need to know. Number 1, not all games can just be stopped, paused, or quit. If they're playing online with friends, and this is typically a Fortnite, but it could be Roblox, it could be Minecraft, it could be Rocket League, it could be any one of a whole variety of games that are internet-enabled connected games. They are playing with their friends. Just randomly walking in and telling someone to quit is like walking out into a basketball court, grabbing your son or daughter while they're about to shoot a free throw, and dragging them off the court in front of all of their friends. It's humiliating, it's embarrassing, and if you're just coming from the outside, you don't necessarily understand that because you can't see it. Like the court and the audience is invisible to you, but in the player's head, it is just as real as being on a football field or a baseball diamond or being at the concert with friends. And when you think about how much of our lives is lived online right now, it's up to 40%. This whole generation is building a digital persona, a digital reputation, an avatar, a representation of who we are online. And so this could be really upsetting for players and their friends. So to manage that, you want to understand, is the game one of those games that they can't just quit? So knowing that in advance will help you begin to manage how it winds down. And I'll talk about that. So the second one that happens is some games you're not playing online, you're not dealing with anybody, but you can't just pause. A cutscene will start. You literally worked for hours. It's like that encore of the song or the grand finale of the fireworks. You put in a lot of work, a lot of effort to get to this point in the game, and all of a sudden a movie kicks off. There's no way to stop it. There's no way to pause it. If for some reason those cutscenes are the siren song for parents to walk in and at that exact moment want to talk to their kids. So how would you feel if you were in the middle of a movie, go back before VCRs, go back before streaming, go back before pause button. Imagine live TV, the most important moment is about to come up. You have no way to pause it. And now somebody wants to talk to you. How would you feel? Probably not great. So understanding if this is a pausable moment or not will really help you mitigate, because you might only have to wait a couple of minutes, 1 or 2, deep breath. It'll be okay. Watch the movie. They're entertaining. It'll actually give you subject matter to talk with your child with later. But if you could pause for a minute and give them a little space to finish what they earned, Every time I've done that, I get my child's undivided attention as soon as they can pause. There are games that if you pause, everybody else keeps playing. That's kind of a problem too, so you want to pay attention to that. The last one has to do with saving. Sometimes there's no problem pausing. Sometimes you're not playing with anyone else, but you can't just turn the console off or turn the PC off or quit the game because you would lose all of that work. Video games have this weird relationship with saving where they feel like you have to earn it by going to a checkpoint, or you have to find some gizmo in the world and stick your head in it to be able to save the game. And if you're not there, you're going to lose everything you did. And that is just like open up a big Word document, typing for an hour, and then hitting delete. Man, I got to do all that over again. Not fun. So understanding when and how the game saves is really important. Sometimes, like with a Nintendo Switch or maybe a 3DS or a portable console, Sony's pretty good at this, Xbox too, you can just stop the game and it'll freeze your state and you're good. But oh boy, you power that thing off, you literally turn it off, you're going to lose everything. So sometimes it's the language we use. We say, shut it off, turn it off. And that's not what we want. What we want is, stop playing, I need your attention. Please end your game time. I need you to come here and have dinner. I need you to work on your homework now. The hard turn off, lose all your work is what the player hears. That's not really what you want, when what you really wanted was, hey, you need to be done and go on to the next thing. So here's the strategies. If your child is going to start engaging in playtime, have that quick conversation. What are you going to play? Who are you going to play with? Is that a game you can quit at a moment's notice? Because dinner's at 5, hard stop. If you can't stop with no notice, maybe you should play something different. We've had great success with that strategy in my household. Is that my experience is when players have time to play and they know the end is going to be abrupt, they'll often choose a game that's easier to wrap up so that they don't have a fight at the end. They'll tell their friends, sorry, I can't play. I'm going to have to go to dinner. I don't want to get caught up in it. They'll play Pokemon, or they'll get into their own game of Minecraft, or they'll just warn people, hey, I'm going to drop out. I'm going to work on my stuff over here, or I'll be in the background, but I'm going to have to leave. And setting everybody's expectations is always, always, always a valuable tool to do. Secondly, if they're not playing with friends, you're like, can you pause this at any time? Can you put the game down? Or are there cutscenes or reasons you can't pause and talk to me? You want to know that. And my experience is when you start talking about games you're trying to understand, you can ask your kids to show you, to explain it to you. It's a wonderful thing to do because you're showing interest in what they're interested in, and you'll learn the tools and the language to negotiate the end. So like, how does this game pause? Tell me about it. Do that when you don't need it, and then later bring that information up going, can you pause this game you're going to go play? No. Are you sure you want to play that game? Okay, I'll play something different. Or they'll be like, yeah, but I'll make it work. The last one has to do with saving. Again, how does this game save? I don't want you to lose your work, but we got to go. We got to go. And I don't want the battery to die on you and lose your work. I don't want, are you going to be able to do this? Yes, I will. How are you going to make that happen? That's a great question. How are you going to make sure you end on time and don't lose your work? Ask your player, because they're problem solvers. That's what games are. Games, despite all the hype and stereotype, are not engineered to be addictive. They're engineered to be engaging. They have to do that so people buy them. We don't like spending money on games that are boring. Boy, you play a bad game, and it's not just that you lost the money, you lost hours of your life you're never going to get back. So as developers, and when I worked in the studios, our whole goal was to create something that was deeply satisfying for you so you felt like you got your money's worth, you talked about it with your friends, you wanted to share and play it with other people. That's the real goal of developers, to deliver that kind of value for people. And so when you're successful and you create a phenomenally engaging game, just like the 2 minutes in the football game when the championship is on the line, or the encore in the concert, or that payoff cliffhanger moment in a movie, we've got you hooked, so to speak. We've got your attention suddenly with no warning, no caveat, no expectation of being interrupted. That would be deeply upsetting. I hope you would agree that that makes sense and you can relate to it, even if you're not a gamer. So the final trick is the one we use at Game Truck, and we've been doing this for years, is that number one, we've set the expectation. The gameplay is for 2 hours, 90 minutes, 3 hours, whatever it is. Up front, the players know how long they have to play. Then at the end, we manage it. With 10 minutes to go, we'll flash the lights. It is a non-intrusive way that, because sometimes players are very, very focused, and if you touch them or talk to them, you literally can startle them. I'm that way. My wife laughs about it all the time. If she comes up behind me and I'm writing or I'm playing a game or whatever, and touches me, I just jump out of my skin. I'm like, ugh! Is flicking the lights. Because it's an environmental effect that happens in the peripheral vision, it will get their attention. And I literally just did this in a room full of 60 parents and children playing games together. Everybody was engaged. Everybody was focused. When 10 minutes to go, we flicked the lights and everybody looked up like, what? I'm like, you have 10 minutes to go. We successfully ended playtime. No fights, no crying, smiles and laughing all around. Everyone had a great time. So, quick recap. If you negotiate the end before you begin, I think you're going to have a better outcome. Know how, can that game be paused? How does that game save? Are you playing with other people? And then finally, a little bit of management at the end, giving some visual warnings like flicking the lights, reminding them it's time to wind down. It will not stop every fight, but in my experience, it stops most of them. I hope you find that useful. I'd love, if you've got other strategies I haven't talked about, other experiences, I'd love to hear it in the comments. And welcome to Rethink Games with Scott Novus. I'm glad you listened in.